Hello everybody, E here. Happy Halloween. I don't have a video for you on Halloween. I'm like this. I'm sorry. I don't like posting things out of order since we're doing Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and Halloween falls on, I believe, Friday. We don't have an actual Halloween video, but I have another thing I want to apologize for. I wanted to end the month with a positive review. That did not happen. I tried all month long reading a bunch of short stories on Amazon, the free ones that come with Prime, the Shivers collection, the Creature collection, the Creepy collection, all these collections. And I posted all of the good ones that I found already, which was Letter Slot by Owen King, and I believe there was one other one. All the rest of them, in my opinion, were trash. So this video is going to be more along the lines of reviewing overall the Shivers collection, because that's the only one that I read every single one of. It's also the only one that I liked any stories from it, and that's the one Owen King with Memory Slot. But I also want to talk about why I didn't like them and why I feel that's the reason why I don't like them is everything that's wrong with modern horror. So let's jump into it. I read Letter Slot. You've already seen my review for that one. I read Night and Day in Misery by Catriona Ward, and I didn't care too much for it at all. It's already on the channel. The review should have been up last week, I believe. Then I tried to read The Blanks by Grady Hendrix. I'm going to link you guys down in the doobly-doo. If you click on it, it is an affiliate link, so I'm just trying to make some pennies where I can. It's an affiliate link. If you click on it, you can go and look up all of these. The Blanks by Grady Hendrix. The issue I have always had with Grady Hendrix is he is the horror equivalent of Ernest Cline. It's just a bunch of pop culture references with no depth whatsoever. I started The Blanks. I was reading it, going along, and I was like, I counted 10 pop culture references in the first 5 pages. When that's all there is to a story, if you like nostalgia stuff, that's fine. I kind of dig it too when it's done well, but when that's all the meat of the story, I don't care for it. I didn't get to the action. I just didn't vibe with the writing, so I put it down. And then I read Jackknife and Indigo Room. Indigo Room is by Stephen Graham Jones, and it was a complete miss for me. No one seems to understand what the story is about, and that's hilarious because at the end of the short story, Stephen Graham Jones says, thanks an editor he worked with on the story because she made it make sense. That didn't occur. I dug through reviews, nobody can explain this. So if it's one of those things where Stephen Graham Jones knows and the editor knows, that's fantastic. Whatever, it just did not work for me. And now finally, here we are at the Joe Hill story, Jackknife. The problem I'm starting to have with Joe Hill, and I've reiterated this over and over again, is I don't understand why anyone works so hard to distance themselves from the legacy of their father, only to then, once it is made public that Stephen King is your daddy, you start writing Stephen King fan fiction. I don't understand it. Horns, absolutely exceptional book. 20th Century Ghosts, phenomenal collection. Let's see here. Heart-Shaped Box, good. Not as good as Horns, but why did I say Horns? Why did I say it like that? I don't know. Not as good. But then we get NOS 4A2, and there's some Pennywise references, there's some Derry stuff, there's some Midworld stuff, there's all that stuff. It was kind of cool. But it was mostly set in Joe Hill's world. We had Christmas Land, we had all of his wild, wacky imagination stuff. It was amazing. And then we got The Fireman, which was literally a cover version of The Stand. We also got Strange Weather, which there was a really good story in there called Aloft. I can't be bothered to even remember the other ones. We got the short story collection. That was a novella collection. Strange Weather was. Then we got Full Throttle, which was another one. Literally has a story in there that he wrote with Richard Matheson and him daddy. And also, it's got In the Tall Grass. I believe it's in there. It could be in one of King's collections. But what I'm getting at is now Joe Hill is like watered down Stephen King. That is crazy to me. that you would start your career blazing your own path, going your own way, being highly literary with deep elements and, almost like puzzle-ish, and things like Horns has those elements in it. And now you're just a cover artist. It bothers me because you're not because Hill is not improving. Like, I'm talking to this dude. Like, Hill is not improving. He is now stagnated in the Stephen King fan fiction realm. Now, you have people like Richard Chismar that'll blow out some Stephen King fan fiction, make a couple bucks, and run for the hills. You got someone like that. But this is King's son. I don't understand it. And also, it seems that right now, and this is what I'm getting at with the problem with modern horror, is that they're all cover songs. All of them. And if you're not going to improve on the song, why even try? With Jackknife, this is a really, really cool story idea. It's a cursed tree, something happened way back in the way back, and there's this douchebag you gotta follow to find out kinda, sorta, what happened. It's no real payoff. There's some actiony stuff toward the end. There's some decent gore, but there's some terrible, terrible writing. There is one paragraph in here that had began, like, it began to, 3 times in one paragraph. I don't know if Hill is now, of that echelon that does not have an editor, but it's ridiculous to see writing that bad when I read Horns, when I know what this dude is capable of, the type of prose he is capable of. It's like he's completely phoning it in, and I do wonder if he's kind of stuck in comic book mode, because writing a comic book script does not have to be as detailed. You can work with the artist and you can show it through visuals instead of actually having to write it and make it make sense that way. And it almost does, his new stuff almost does read like a script. It's lacking the detail, it's lacking the prose element of the action. The action is like, this happened. Very, very bland writing. And it didn't used to be like that. That's what I'm upset about. But there is a story within a story here, and that is the story that I wanted. There is a group that on the tree, the cursed tree, there is written, it got Troy and Troy's dad and the year, and then it said, but we stopped it here, and then a list of 5 boys' names. There's a Boy Scout troop. There's a knife, the jackknife, the titular jackknife is stuck into the tree. It would have been so cool to get the Boy Scout story that stopped the tree. That's what I wanted. That's what I cared about. I wanted all of that. I didn't care about the sexting professor. I didn't care about his traumas, not his traumas. I didn't care about anything he was going through because the guy was a douchebag. And I don't have any issue reading about terrible people as long as that's kind of the point of the story. Like, if you're following, I wrote South of Here. I'm completely cool with reading and writing about douchebag characters. But you got to give me a reason to care, to move forward. You gotta give it to me. And it wasn't here. But yeah, it's literally right now we are watching, even more so than ever before, we are watching the covers just come in at it. It's like nobody wants to write original stories anymore. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon with The End of the World as We Know It, Stephen King fan fiction. You got H.P. Lovecraft fan fiction coming out the ass crack, just rolling like just streams of diarrhea. I don't understand it. Now, I am down with like Victor Laval and other people, covering Lovecraft and making it not racist, like The Ballad of Black Tom, Matt Ruff's Lovecraft Country. That stuff is fine because they do their own thing in the story, but when all you have is a tribute and a cover song, it's, what is it, reductive? It takes away. I don't know why we're here. There's plenty of stuff to write, and if you're one of these assholes out there that believes that there's nothing new under the sun, you need to go outside and look. There's plenty new. There's all different kinds of stuff we can use these days. There's AI, there's social media, there's loads and loads of stuff we can use. Fuck it, you can go back and write about before internet and social media and all that stuff. People are doing that and they're absolutely killing it. Why are all these big names phoning it in with all of these cover songs? I don't know. But that's my rant. I hope you guys had It's still September for me. I hope you guys had an amazing spooky season. I hope you guys had Halloween every day in October. And I want to thank you guys for joining me and bringing this channel back. Because if you guys weren't watching the videos, if you guys weren't watching the shorts, I would not be here. I wouldn't even be bothering. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And let's make horror great again. You mad, ain't you? Yeah, you big mad. Anyways, so that's my diatribe. I really hope that something changes in the horror genre, or else I'm just done with it. You know, I'm not even gonna bother with these Halloween videos. I'll just read the stuff that I want to, which I'm doing anyways. But I figured I'd give you guys some more horror content, and here we are. Everything wrong with the horror genre in, what, 10 minutes. There it is. And a little review of the Shivers collection. I never in my life thought that I would say that Owen King, of all people, wrote the best horror story in a collection. But it happened. But yeah, if you want to check the stories out for yourself, I know plenty of you love Grady Hendrix. He wouldn't be as popular as he is if it wasn't for y'all. So I know, leave all your hate and your screaming down there in the doobly-doo. I love to see it. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, you can click on those, go read them for free on Prime. I'm not sure if it helps if it's free, but it's whatever. The links are down there in the doobly-doo. But until next time, I have been E, you have been you. This has been a end of spooky season video. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!